Now, I'd like to come to one of our very high repute guests and one of the most important segment which the corporate social responsibility in organizations they cover up. There are many organizations, but with Mr. Atul Singh as a vice president of Imami Limited is with us. We'd like to know, sir, कि Imami के जो slogans है, the slogans of Imami are with me. Pado India, Pado in the sector of education and skill. You people are already doing a socio-economic upliftment of the country in many fields and sectors, as I can see in research. We have researched about the Imami Limited CSR projects. But about the slogans with subject to education sector, sir, पढ़ो इंडिया पढ़ो पढ़ेंगे हम पढ़ाने के लिए in बढ़ते कदम. What a wonderful gesture to have to start any work for the service to humanity in this segment. What are the challenges you people face, and what are the challenges and academic institutions and private and NGOs you people face with while working all these activities? Mr. Atul Singh, sir, please.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Salman, for the opportunity, and thank you to Mr. Akram, and thank you to Policy Times and Shivdan, another university, for this great platform. Once again, congratulations to the organizers for putting up a great platform to exchange our ideas and thoughts. Uh, Talking about the grassroots level, uh, and we are really working, with the poorest of the poor at the bottom of the pyramid. Imami is having various programs running in the field of education. I guess I'm the only panelist who's not from the education sector, not exactly, someone who is into education, more from an industry perspective. I'll be talking about the programs, what we are doing at the grassroots level, working with the schools and working with the parents, working with the teachers, working with the students, working with the headmasters, and working with the community at large. So talking about some of the programs that you just mentioned, we've got three projects in the field of education. One is the Pado India Pado, which is the school support program. One is the Barte Kadam, which is about skill development. And one is Padhenge Hum Padhane Ke Liye, which is about teachers' education. And like to touch upon some of the work that we are doing. I'll be talking about the work that we've been doing even pre-COVID, during COVID, and then the plan for post-COVID. Talking about the intervention, first of all, from an industry perspective and from a CSR perspective, it's important for us to leverage some of our management capabilities, some of our governance mechanisms to work at the grassroots level. So, for example, we are trying to bring some of our leadership capabilities, some of our governance mechanisms, and try and bring it to the schools working with the headmasters. So, I'd like to bucket our interventions into four buckets: what we are doing for the parents at the grassroots level, what we are doing for the students at the grassroots level, what we are doing for the teachers, and what we are doing for the headmasters at the grassroots level. Talking about the first bucket, which is the parents, we have been working with the first generation learners. So the first generation learners, the parents of the first generation learners, uh, the perception is that they are not able to give the guidance to the students. However, what we believe is parents can actually play a huge role as far as the holistic and inclusive growth of the child is concerned. So we have a program called a Smart Parenting Workshop, where we actually invite the parents to come to the schools, and we actually talk about the parents' role in terms of the growth of a child. And this has been a very successful program of ours. And we have been kind of, looking at the rising interest of the parents as far as the child's education is concerned. So we have some parents and some fathers who have actually stopped, the child working in the field, and he said, it's important for my child to study and not just work with me in the field and earn 100 rupees a day, or something like that. And these are the small little success stories we've got in the smart parenting workshops. Talking about what we are doing for teachers under the Padhenge Hum Padhane Ke Liye, as the name suggests, this is for the teachers who say Hum Padhenge Padhane Ke Liye. That means we have a program where we work on the pedagogy, where we work on kind of getting them to act as not just teachers, but work as facilitators. There's so much of information available right now in the world with the advent of Google and so much of content available. A lot of information is there. So I think the changing role of a teacher, from a teacher to a coordinator to a facilitator to a knowledge accumulator to a coach and to a mentor and guide, is what the transition of the journey is, what we are trying to inculcate. So the role of a teacher is just not to teach what we believe, The role of the teacher is to convert the information into knowledge and then knowledge into wisdom. And from that perspective, the whole ethos of the Padhenge Hum Padhane Ke Liye program is to work very closely with the teachers, working on teaching methodologies and kind of getting them ready to teach in the new world when it is all where it is all about the cognitive skills, okay, as far as the students are concerned, and where they can not just act as teachers but as career gurus. So we have an education to employment program from where we actually make the teacher more aware of the career opportunities that will be there for the students. The students will be passing out in another, let's say, 5 years, 10 years from now. And the whole world will be a different place completely by the time they come out of school. How do we kind of get them ready for a very different kind of a world? The Niti Aayog government of India is talking about no banks. I mean, banks will not be existing in 10 years from time. So, in terms of preparing for a bank exam or in terms of getting ready for a bank career, for example, will be obsolete. So we are kind of, changing, we're kind of living in a fast changing world. And, the role of a teacher is just not to teach academics. We believe that the role of a teacher will be to show them the window of the opportunities coming up in the future as far as the world is concerned. So right from the latest technologies and the way the world is going, the driverless cars and the drone technology, yes, it will not come to India in the very short run. However, we need to expose the child with so much of video content available, with so much of audio available. It's time that we show the world, it's time we show the child what the world will be in 5 years, 10 years from now. That is as far as teachers' intervention is concerned. Talking about students, I think the biggest thing we can do for the students is to work on the 21st century skills. We have a few workshops where we are trying to kind of find out from the students what are their interests. So we've got aptitude test, we've got psychometric test for the students going. And so that, we know what the skills are in terms of identification of the passion, skills like critical thinking, creativity, collaboration, and communication are going to be critical as far as their success in the future is concerned. So from that perspective, we work on their cognitive skills and try and kind of make them more aware of the environment, trying to have a practical approach to teaching and trying to use the nature around them to learn. So we have these kind of programs going. Yes, the scale of the program is not too great. We are working in approximately 50 schools. We have basically adopted 50 schools and we are working in those 50 schools. Yes, there are 15 lakh schools in India. And to be able to kind of scale up those models will be a huge task. It's not possible for the corporates to actually scale up a model. We can build model of excellence. We can test a model. We can do a pilot. We can demonstrate the results. But then the scale up will be, through the government only, through their programs and through their budgeting capability. So, and for the headmasters, I think what we are doing is that we are just starting a leadership program where usually it is seen that the senior most headmaster becomes the senior most teacher becomes a headmaster. And all of a sudden from teaching physics in class, he becomes a headmaster. So we, corporates, when we talk about leadership, we talk about leadership only from a corporate perspective. However, leadership is required at all levels. So since we have been an expert in terms of trying to do a lot of study on leadership and the effect of good leadership as far as business outcomes are concerned, we have a program to kind of work on the leadership skills of the headmasters so that we kind of make them more holistic. Right now, the headmasters, they spend most of the time on the budgeting, the financing, the reporting. Let them focus more on the academics, and let them, kind of focus more on the learning outcomes and the performance of the school. And they are spending most of their time on trying to grapple with the budgets and the finances and the reporting, as required by the government bodies. So these are the various kind of interventions. And Dr. Rahman very rightly mentioned about digital divide. So this was post-COVID. During COVID, okay, we, tried to kind of embark upon the journey of e-learning, online education, but then we did not really succeed, to be very frank, because the kind of the segment that we were working with were the poorest of the poor. In the city, we are working with the slum students, and in the rural areas, we are working with the rural students who don't have real access to a smartphone or data, for that matter of fact, or they don't have a laptop or a desktop or a tab or anything. So what can we do? So we embarked upon a journey where we said, fine, let the project of working on the digital gap or the digital divide be a CSR project. So as we speak, we have a program where for 6,000 rupees we are giving uh, mobiles to the needy, where they can basically study using mobile phones. Smartphones is now available for 5 to 6,000 rupees, and if you buy them in bulk, it's all the more cheaper. We used to give them financial assistance every month for stationery and for books. We have converted that, okay, to giving them the same amount of money for data, which can help them study or which can help them log into a class. And data was a big issue. There's a recurring cost. They might get the mobile through a program, but then they have to still spend 200 rupees a month for data, and then we are giving them these kind of assistances. So these are some of the programs. So what we have done basically is we brought all the so-called stakeholders as far as the education system is concerned on one platform: the parents, the teachers, the students, the headmasters, and the community at large, and trying to have a more holistic or inclusive approach as far as education is concerned. And working at the grassroots level, there are a lot of learnings that we actually get in the whole process. And we are working in some of the remote factory locations where we have got the factories. In Uttarakhand, we have a concept like an Adarsh Vidyalaya, the ideal, kind of a school, where we, apart from the hard support of infrastructure, we give them soft support in terms of, the training and all these, kind of skills I spoke about. So kind of bringing about inclusiveness, trying to bring about holistic nature. And at the end, I would like to talk about the fact that I think it's very important for the education industry or the education sector to have a collaborative approach with the industry. So there's a great need for an academia industry collaboration to identify what the needs are as far as the industry is concerned. I can give the example of a job which is really required in our factory, which is like a welder. A professional welder in a factory gets about 1 to 1.5 lakhs a month. But which father would like their son to become a welder? Which father would like their daughter to get married to a welder? Okay, they might be earning lots of money. So there has to be a cultural change required. Okay, and this is where the industry, the academy, and all the stakeholders of the ecosystem, we need to work together to bring about cultural change, to bring about more of an environment which is more towards education to employment. What can be done to the huge wealth of knowledge that a student has if it does not bring him the benefit of a kind of a safe livelihood? So talking about the future, talking about getting India ready for the future citizens of the country, I think it's a collective job to kind of work on a collaborative mode. Gone are the days of saying we'll compete with each other, the survival of the fittest. I think now we are kind of entering an era where we talk about survival of all, and survival of all is only possible through collaboration. These are some of my initial thoughts. Happy to answer questions at the end. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you, sir. And while we are speaking about 50 schools initiative, which you said is a figure less, but what we feel is 50 schools means almost more than 5,000 students, 5,000 families you are nurturing, nourishing, and supporting. The generations are yet to come, and they'll be wonderful with your support. Thank you.